Hey everyone, I'm going to go over the new and exciting news that we got for Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, which is set to release exclusively onto the Nintendo Switch on June 24th. And today, not only are we going to be checking out a bunch of brand new battle and combat details, but also mechanical changes in a wide variety of different situations from the previous Fire Emblem Warriors title. All these details are coming to us from the brand new Famitsu magazine revealed that just dropped earlier this week, and thankfully it was translated by a couple of Twitter users as well. Huge shout out to them. Link in the description below if you need the official translations. But at the end of the day, we got our hands on a ton of information that are going to give us a little bit of a better glimpse on how combat and, more importantly, character evolution is going to translate into this title. Not only that, we also got a brand new set of screenshots and, of course, the scans themselves. So right out of the gate, jumping right into it, the magazine does mention that each one of the characters will have something like their very own preferred class. Basically what this means is that you are still going to have the choice to be able to choose different classes for your character, but if you choose to follow the path for a specific preferred class for that character, you're going to get specific bonuses whenever you level them up. They use a couple of examples, like Chess's preferred class will be the Fugal, where a character like Hubert are more preferred to play as a Dedue, or Hilda as a Dark Mage, Armor Knight, or Brigand. So ultimately you do have a choice to choose your class, but whenever you choose one of those preferred ones, you're going to get more benefits. And these come in the form of personal skills, which introduce elemental attacks or different variants to one of your attacks already. So Hilda, for example, has the ability to launch thunder elemental attacks if you choose her preferred class. But other classes basically have like different ones, like Armor Knights are going to be able to reduce the amount of taken damage from nearby enemies. As a tank class, you're already going to be able to have better defense and better performance when taking in hits, but then if you play with a specific character, you're going to get that boosted performance as well. Even with the same classes, however, different characters will have different leveling paths, basically so they can get better bonuses, specifically when they level up that class with that specific character. And new combat arts and even magical abilities can be unlocked whenever you go that specific route. So ultimately what they're trying to say is that, again, you pick the preferred class for that specific character, but even if you choose another character with that same class, they're not going to be a carbon copy of each other. They're going to have different specific bonuses tied to them. So that's always good for variation. Famitsu also does make mention that in order for you to be able to level up, you're going to take points from weapon durability. So we don't necessarily know what ultimately that means, but that is one of the key factors in order for you to be able to level up. When it comes to actual core gameplay, buffs are going to be like handed out by battalions on the battlefield, but these can also be removed by the leading characters taking too much damage. So these are temporary buffs that you're going to have based on whatever battalion like you choose to back you up, but at the end of the day, if you're taking too much damage, that buff goes away and they can kind of like overrun you. So enemies will have that distinct advantage to kind of be able to like overwhelm you if you're not too careful. The benefit is that battalions will kind of just come back on the next fight. So it's not like you lose them or anything like that. They're just permanently there. You just lose them for that very specific combat if you kind of like lose the buff. So you're not going to be too concerned about like losing them out permanently or anything like that. Another thing that's also coming back from the main game, from the Three Houses game, is that character support is also making a comeback. So basically you're going to have characters like support your main character if they have like friendship levels up. Like, you know, you're going to be able to have them helping out as well. And this can be linked up by several ways. Of course, having like your characters chit chat outside of the battlefield will be one way for them to be able to become like supportive of each other, but also fighting right next to each other on the field, kind of like in the old game as well. You're also going to be able to have that benefit. This is best exemplified by adding better stats, more buff performance, and even special partner attacks as well. So it's all beneficiary if you have two partners that are kind of like always fighting together. You know, you just team them up and you're going to be able to get more benefits as well. You're also going to have the choice to be able to send characters to do jobs, to collect items, and even support improvements, kind of like outside of the field. If you're not going to use them for an upcoming fight, you can actually send them out to do different tasks. And this is actually how you're going to be able to earn different interactions and even training sessions for each one of the characters as well. All of this raises stats All of this raises like affinity for one character to another, so ultimately it's beneficial to you to be able to kind of have the best partners set up as well. And the last thing that the magazine does mention when it comes to like character pairings and things like that is that the dining activity also is making a return. So you're going to have two characters kind of like sharing a meal with each other, and they're basically going to get buffed effects for each one of the participating characters. If you pick their specific meals that are a favorite to them as well, that's also going to be a added incentive as well. The last thing that the magazine does touch upon is the story itself, and while they're of course not going to reveal any big secrets there, they do specifically say that every quest and kind of like everything is kind of tied up to event sequences, and basically you're going to have access to this war map, and everything is chosen from the war map itself. You also have the main quest and the subquests, and the subquests are going to kind of be like buffers, if you will, in between the big main quest sections that you're going to have access to in the biggest battles of the game. But that's not to say subquests aren't necessarily going to be not important. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they are just there to get you to have better partner setups, better synchros and stuff like that. So they do serve a specific purpose, but they are not going to be like perhaps, let's say, fully voiced, if you will, like the main action, main quest events are going to be. So that is something to keep in mind. And when you look at like all these type warrior games or whatever, they always end up having a ton of side content that you can do or skip over, and it's always beneficial to just kind of do it if you need to grind. But in order for you to avoid having to grind the main quest over and over and over, that's what they kind of provided with these sub quests, these sub events, for you to be able to go ahead and do that as well. So at the end of the day, this game seems to be looking rather packed when it comes to content. They seem to be doing the right thing by bringing in all of the students back. They haven't necessarily confirmed if you are going to be able to play as all of them, or at the very least, if they have, I haven't necessarily seen that just yet. But at the end of the day, it's more beneficial to have all of the characters from the original game in one way or another making an appearance, because ultimately that is why you are playing this game. You are not playing it because you necessarily like one school over the other, or you necessarily love the overall arcing story of the game. It's because you like the students, and that's probably the reason why most people like Three Houses at the end of the day. So it is beneficial that if they do bring most of the characters back, it would go a long way. Now, of course, you are still going to be playing with a brand new protagonist. That is not going to change much of anything. And again, because they haven't necessarily provided us with all the details when it comes to the story, we don't necessarily know how it is that the previous protagonist is going to be able to play in the overall arcing theme of things. We have seen in the most recent trailer that they're more likely going to be a little bit of an enemy, if you will. Not the main villain, but definitely one of the ones that you're going to go up against. So it's going to be interesting to see how they shape that out as well. But that's about all the information that I have for you guys today. If you are brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.